Hi, this is Eric Daw from OmniFit, and today I have a special guest. I have glasses. I don't see perfectly, so I know that eyes are very important. So we have Andy with us today. Andy, please introduce yourself again, please.
Happy to be back as always. Yeah, I'm everyone's, or at least I'm my own favorite dietitian from Toronto. And yeah, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk some nutrition and eye health today, I think.
Oh, yeah, perfect. So we know the eyes are very important because let's be honest, if we can't see, we can't do pretty much very few things we can do really well without seeing. And you in particular, Andy, have really looked into not just the eyes in terms of seeing, but you looked at terms of what foods help your eyes health. So
Right.
I want you to say one, why have you found what have you found in terms of the connection between your eyes and the food for your eyes?
Yeah. So it's kind of a two-part thing. As always, it's always something extra. So the first thing to be aware of is, your eyes are a very sensitive organ. Okay, very very sensitive, which means and which explains why, for example, people with diabetes are at increased risk of vision issues. So actually, it's called diabetic retinopathy is the fancy word for it, but that
Yeah,
essentially means damage to the eyes when the blood sugar levels are not well controlled. So we've done videos in the past about blood sugar levels. I would encourage people to check that out
yeah.
and to try your best if you're living with diabetes type 1 or type 2 to control your levels as much as possible. That will reduce the risk of damage. High blood pressure, again, because the eyes are sensitive, the blood going through them. If the sugars are high, if the pressure is high, it's more likely to damage the eyes. So you want to control those two things to the best of your ability, right? But then on top of that, there are specific foods that help. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So and let me ask you this. So when you think, I know because there's definitely some traditional ones that everyone thinks of. So when you think of eye health, what comes to your
Oh,
mind if you have
I
to pick
mean, the
one?
first thing I think of is beta carotene, right?
Exactly,
Yeah,
right?
that's the first thing I think of.
And that's interesting, right? The reason I asked is like I was betting you were going to say that. We didn't even prepare this before,
Didn't
guys.
prepare
This
it.
this is all this is natural. We have such
This
a
is
connection.
natural.
We have such a connection.
Oh yeah.
But what's really good for eye health is foods that contain antioxidants.
Mm,
So beta carotene is an antioxidant, vitamin E is an antioxidant, and vitamin E, we're going to name a couple of foods that are high in vitamin E: avocados, almonds, sunflower seeds, these sources of healthy fat, right? Vitamin C is another antioxidant, also very good for eye health. Okay, that's found in oranges, kiwi, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, right? All of these foods, by the way, are high in potassium, which also helps with blood pressure, right? Which also is good for your eyes.
well, it's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. This not to cut you off a little. This is making a point about the going back to the beta carotene. It's funny.
yeah,
It's how we kind of associate certain issues with very specific foods. So we think, oh, beta carotene, eyes. We think, oh, I'm gonna get a cramp. I need to eat bananas. You know what I mean? It's funny how we
right.
connect certain foods with very specific issues. Anyway,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Well, no, but it's interesting as well because this is actually very interesting. So there was a study done. It's called AREDS. Okay, it stands for something. I can't remember what it stands for. But it was a study about eye supplements, and the supplement contained vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. It contained something called lutein and zeaxanthin.
Yeah.
Okay, those are two antioxidants, which are very, very important. And guess what? One of the foods that's very high in both of those is kale, believe it or
Mm,
not. So
yeah.
they're antioxidants that are found in leafy green vegetables.
Yeah.
Okay, also in egg yolk, also in fish. So they're very very potent antioxidants, very very good for you. Also found in a variety of other foods. Um, but on the note of beta carotene, what they found is because people beta carotene is actually not great to supplement for people who smoke. This is what I want to bring up
Interesting.
because it can actually increase the risk of lung cancer. This is what they found in studies. If you supplement beta
Okay.
carotene, if you're a smoker, so they did a second study called the AREDS2, where they took out the beta carotene and they added the lutein and zeaxanthin instead. This is a supplement for eye health, right?
Yeah.
So it's important for people to know that if you are a smoker, you're looking to supplement for eye health, you taking beta carotene is probably not the best choice. And definitely talk to your doctor about it at the very
Yeah.
least.
Well, I think that's great insight because I'm sure most people would never know that. But and I have another question for you,
Yeah.
Andy. Um, so when we talk about eye health, are we just talking about um, are we referring to eyes that we can actually see better, or what are we referring to when specifically when it comes to eye health?
Well, it's all connected, right? Because if we all have a certain level of vision, right? That deteriorates with age,
Yeah.
right? But the healthier we eat, the less it deteriorates. So it's not as if you're going to go eat a bunch of kale and then your vision's going to go from what it is to 20/20 necessarily. But whatever your vision is right now, you're going to prevent any future loss, and you're going to greatly reduce your risk of significant loss as you get older.
Well, you just popped my bubble. I was thinking of getting rid of these glasses.
You never know. You never know if you eat really well. But it depends, right? Like if someone's eye issues are caused by poor blood sugar control or high blood pressure, and they fix those problems, or if they're caused by a really weak diet and they fix that, it's possible their vision will improve.
Yeah.
It's possible. But what we're really talking about is that when you get to 60, 65 plus, that you maintain all the vision you have and you reduce your risk of any bad things happening. You know what I mean?
Most definitely. And I think that's really the big message you've been trying to get across is we have to maintain, whether it be exercise, food, or whatever, we're trying to maintain our bodies, our eyes, or everything at the highest level, because let's be honest, there's deterioration going on all the time. And that's what you're referring to. But you're saying we're going to slow that process down as slow as possible. We can maintain things at a high level.
Right. That's exactly it. That's what we do with everything that we can. Another nutrient I'm going to bring up, because this is connected to what we always talk about, is zinc. Zinc is also another dietary. It's a very, very important mineral that is associated with certain antioxidants in the body, and it's actually found to be good for eye health. And guess what? Guess what has zinc? Legumes, which is our favorite food to talk about.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, so Eric and I, we often joke about how the same foods come up every week, because the reality is it's a very relatively small group of foods that are good for us. And it's not always sexy to say the same thing all the time, but sometimes there's certain foods, legumes like lentils and chickpeas, one of them, that really are just so good for us, and we need to just keep on harping on. They're very good for blood sugar control as well. So if you want an eye health superfood, think about lentils or chickpeas.
Well, I think that's awesome info, Andy. Andy, you mentioned that you actually wrote an article about it. Could you either reference that or something we can put in the description of this video?
100%. I wrote an article for that. It's going to be published hopefully in a few days, and maybe we hold off until it comes out. I'll put the link in the bio. The link in the description will be there, and then people can look more closely into what I write about, which is, again, the lutein, the zeaxanthin, which are dietary antioxidants, the zinc, the vitamin C, the vitamin E. I list more of foods that have each in each category, right? So the article will talk about all of that at a bit more length. But I think the most important thing for people to know, it's not that we've told you that there's one food that's going to change your vision, but that you need to understand that what you eat and your dietary antioxidant intake and the balance of your diet has a massive role to play in vision. And sometimes people need the right motivation to make changes. And perhaps vision for some people is a strong motivation. Maybe they have a family history of glaucoma or cataracts or something, and they don't want to go down that road. Well, guess what? Your nutrition has a massive role to play. And if you take this information, then go on and do your own research or talk to your doctor, then we've done a good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, awesome, Andy. And finally, I just have to make one major point that a lot of older adults or seniors, I think, need to hear in regards to all the things that Andy mentioned about eyes, is that your eyes are one of the most important senses your body uses for balance. So when we talk about eyes, it's not just connected to the seeing well, but just being able to balance. And we know about fall prevention in seniors and the likelihood of it increasing as we get older. So we also want to take that into account also. Andy, thank you so much. Thanks for this video. I would love to do some more stuff with you and more to come. Thank you so much, Andy.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure as always.